Before fame, before filters, there's a human heart. This is Starlyst Originals. In Sri Lanka, the journey is never about getting from one place to another. Our roads are filled with stories, the kindness of random strangers, and the quiet rhythm of everyday life. And today, our conversation happens on the move, driving across the open roads and even pausing in the heart of a busy street to show you just how alive, accessible, and welcoming Sri Lanka truly is. And a special thank you to Uber for partnering with us on this episode, helping people move, connect, and discover Sri Lanka comfortably and safely. Today, we're joined by someone very special, someone whose reach has gone out of the boundaries of Sri Lanka, not just through her number of followers, but through her honest storytelling throughout Sri Lanka and throughout to the global audiences. It's my pleasure to welcome Alanki Kishani Pereira. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Alanki. So I'll start off with a very few basic questions just to get to know you. So you've achieved quite a lot in life, but is there a particular achievement or a particular thing that you're really, really happy about? What would that be?
So I think when it comes to my career, I've done various things, but I'm really proud of the work I'm doing right now. Like you said, storytelling, having honest conversations, which really can give back to my audience. So since I host a program on current affairs and I cover topics which I feel of importance to the public.
Right. And that brings me to my next question, because you are usually the host and you always have a guest on the other side, but today the roles are reversed.
It really
How does it feel to be on the receiving end of things?
Well, I mean, it feels good and it kind of gives me perspective of what my guest on my show would probably feel like, being questioned and to have their stories heard.
Right, amazing. And you have a lot of followers. How much do you have exactly right now in your socials?
So I, in total, with Facebook and Instagram combined itself.
And you have your YouTube channel as well, right?
Yes, all of that combined, I have over 450,000 to 500,000 followers.
That's amazing. So we can safely say you have a lot of followers. But my question would be, what do these followers not see? Like, what does real Alanki look like that the followers don't see online?
So what they probably don't know about me is the fact that apart from what they see on screen, I think they probably don't know that I'm really sensitive, I'm very emotional. And sometimes something very little could really hurt me or move me. So I think it's a weakness, but it's also a blessing in disguise because it really helps me to go that extra mile sometimes.
So diving a little deeper into your life, how do I say it? Was there a specific moment in your life which has turned it upside down, but in a good way?
Yes. I think a turning point in my life was when I accidentally and unexpectedly got into media.
And what's the story behind that? I'm curious now.
So the story behind that is I was in my teens, early teens, and I was spotted by a photographer who asked me to pose for the front cover of a magazine.
Right.
And then I was spotted by advertising agencies.
This was while you were still in school? Or?
Yes. And then I was invited for my first TV ad, Sunlight. And from then, it's been one thing after the other. And it was not a field that I ever thought of getting into.
Right.
Because I was very focused on my studies.
What did you initially want to be before all this happened?
So I think initially I just wanted to follow my studies and be an academic and probably do something along those lines, you know.
Right.
So I mean, I currently have a law degree. So if I hadn't gotten into media, I would have probably been a lawyer.
So
talking about Sri Lanka, what do you feel about Sri Lanka right now, and how accessible do you think Sri Lanka is as of now?
So I think Sri Lanka is very safe and very accessible. I mean, I'm at the golf fort now and I can see so many tourists around me enjoying the beauty
It's
of...
very noisy right now as well.
It's very noisy, but I just love being here because this is a very special place. Not just the golf fort, but Sri Lanka, I feel, is a beautiful destination. Anyone can visit. It's very accessible. It's quite safe as I see it. So yeah.
Right. And talking about movement, like in terms of your daily travel, or it could be in terms of taking a day trip somewhere, how has movement shaped your connection with Sri Lanka, with this country?
I love traveling.
Right.
And when I do get to travel, I think I get to explore different parts of this beautiful island. And I'm so proud to call it home. And I think traveling from place to place has really helped me get a deeper understanding of Sri Lankan people.
Right.
And I think you get to connect to people from across Sri Lanka, and that's amazing.
And what's the most significant thing that you've noticed about Sri Lankans? Like the most significant thing that you could probably tell someone abroad, this is something that makes us Sri Lankan.
So I think something which makes us Sri Lankan is the fact that two things. One, Sri Lankans are very hopeful.
Yes.
No matter what comes their way, they're always very resilient, and they look at whatever challenge that comes their way in a very positive light. And the second thing is Sri Lankans are very warm. So I think if you travel out of Colombo, like that's something I witnessed myself. People are really warm, they're very helpful. So I think that's something I'd want the world to know about Sri Lankans.
So for someone who's planning to travel or who has not traveled to Sri Lanka in a long while, if they ask you how safe Sri Lanka is, or any travel tips or travel advices to Sri Lanka, is there anything specific that you would like to mention?
Well, yeah, if I'm to say it in short, I would say visit Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is so beautiful, so unique, and so blessed, and so diverse in terms of landscapes and cultures and traditions. And it's definitely a country that one has to visit in their lifetime.
Right. Going back to your personal preferences, I know this beautiful golf fort area is something that you absolutely love. I think you, me, and your mum even had that chat just a little while ago about visiting golf fort frequently. But aside from golf fort, where else do you love to visit, and what are the most peaceful places in Sri Lanka that inspires you?
So I love Nuwara, obviously because of the climate and it's really beautiful. But I also really like visiting cities and places like Anuradhapura and Jaffna.
Right.
So for example, if you take Anuradhapura, I think it's a place with so much history and heritage, right? So you're just walking through ancient ruins and you're really transported back to a different era. And then I love Jaffna for its distinct culture and traditions and food. And then there's Sigiriya. I love Habarana. I just love the drive.
Habarana is the Sigiriya side, right?
Yeah. And I love, I like Kandy as well. It's very peaceful and serene. I mean, I don't have a specific spot, but I think Sri Lanka is known for its stunning beaches, but then there's so much more Sri Lanka has to offer.
Yeah.
It's not just the beaches. It's so diverse, you know.
That's actually very true, because Sri Lanka is one of the very few countries in the world where you can actually enjoy mountains and as well as beaches, and it's just within a span of couple of hours. Ancient ruins, the history, the heritage to everything.
Yes.
And that brings me to my next question. Mountains versus beaches, what do you prefer? You don't have to say beaches just because we are in Galle.
Oh, mountains.
Oh, wow. Okay, I did not expect that, because since you talked a lot about Galle and the golf fort area.
No, I love the golf fort simply because, it's not that I don't like beaches. I love the beach. But given a choice, I think I would prefer the mountains. But I just love the golf fort because it's so beautiful. I mean, there's so much colonial architecture. You can just walk down
just surrounded by all that beauty right now. Yeah, you can just walk
down these streets and just witness all of that colonial charm. And there's also this beautiful ocean around the fortress. Yeah, I just love the vibe here.
Amazing. And what's the one thing that Sri Lanka has taught you which the world could never? Just one thing. I know you touched up on the warmth of Sri Lanka, but other than that, anything else that Sri Lanka could specifically teach you, but not somewhere else in the world?
I think what Sri Lanka, I can tell you, like, maybe I can answer this question in one way. I've never wanted to leave Sri Lanka.
Right. You have never wanted to.
I love traveling.
Right.
But I have never wanted to call any other place home.
Right.
I've never wanted to leave Sri Lanka even when things got tough. It's because I've always, I've loved Sri Lanka, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's home, and that's something no other country can give me.
Exactly.
So that's probably what Sri Lanka has taught me.
Like, what's the most time, like in terms of duration, that you spent outside of Sri Lanka?
A month.
Yes. That's not much. That's not much.
That's not much.
And did you feel homesick while you were away for a month? I'm sure you did.
Well, yes and no. It depends on where I am, but wherever I am, I always know I'm coming back home.
Right.
So in that sense, I don't feel really homesick, but I'll never leave Sri Lanka. I've never wanted to leave Sri Lanka, at least for now.
Right. So that means you don't have any future plans as well to leave Sri Lanka?
No, I mean, there were many occasions where...
I'm sure you got opportunities outside.
Yes, and there were many occasions where when things got tough, especially during the economic crisis and all the challenges Sri Lanka's faced, so many have asked me, why don't you migrate? Why don't you leave?
Yeah.
But then I was like, why should I leave? This is home.
Yeah.
You know? And I've never wanted to leave because it's always felt like home to me.
And I think one thing great about Sri Lanka is the resilience of the people here.
Absolutely, because I think Sri Lanka has faced crisis after crisis, challenge after challenge in the past few years. But Sri Lankans have always remained resilient, and that's probably why we are okay. And that's probably one of the reasons that Sri Lanka is still one of the most beautiful destinations in the world. It's not simply because of what Sri Lanka has to offer, but also because of the people.
Right, amazing. I think just to wrap things up, I would like to ask you one final question. What would be your message to Sri Lankans who live abroad right now?
Well, visit Sri Lanka, support Sri Lanka. At the end of the day, it's home, and I'm pretty sure all Sri Lankans living abroad also contribute to the economy of the country, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I feel they do contribute, but it's also good to visit Sri Lanka and support Sri Lanka in that sense.
Right. And I think it's not just the Sri Lankans abroad, but also the global community also should look at visiting Sri Lanka.
Absolutely,
right?
Ayush, because I think there's no reason to not visit Sri Lanka. It's such an accessible country, it's a safe country, it's a beautiful country, and it's also been named and recognized as one of the most beautiful destinations in the world. And what makes it really special is that it's also very affordable,
right,
in comparison to most other exotic destinations.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because when it comes to luxury tourism as well, Sri Lanka is one of the most prominent nations, especially with all the beaches all around the country as an island nation. But even if there's proper luxury tourism in Sri Lanka, it comes at a lesser cost than compared to other countries as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, my message to Sri Lankans living abroad would be to visit Sri Lanka, and obviously the others around the world who are watching, even if you're Sri Lankan or not, is to support Sri Lanka. We are a resilient nation, and we are a very welcoming nation.
Right. When it comes to movement in Sri Lanka, within Sri Lanka, it could be a road trip or during your daily rides. Are there any particular incidents like that comes to your mind, like something that you want to share?
Something I want to share.
I can give you time to think about it.
Like something nice, or like...
Yeah, something unforgettable, something nice, in a positive sense.
Nothing like extraordinary, but I've always enjoyed long drives.
Right.
Long scenic drives, and it's just very peaceful and relaxing.
All right.
But nothing as exciting as you want me to share.
And I think we've reached to the end of our conversation in terms of the land episode of Starlyst Originals. A special thank you to our guest today, Alanki. Thank you so much for joining us, for speaking your truth and sharing your love for this nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So that's it in terms of the land episode of Starlyst Originals. We'll catch up with you on the next episode.
Hi, I'm Kaushalya, country head of Uber Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has always been a nation built on connection, not just roads and cities, but through everyday journeys that bring people together. From quiet lanes of our villages to vibrant streets of Colombo and Galle, movement is simply part of who we are. The recent cyclone reminded us how deeply mobility is tied to resilience and community. Even in challenging times, Sri Lankans continue to show strength, compassion, and unity. And that's the spirit that truly moves this country forward. At Uber, we connect people with places and help them go anywhere. With in-app features that put the well-being of our passengers and our drivers first. But beyond this technology, what inspires us the most are the human stories behind every trip. Because every journey is about more than just the destination. As the world rediscovers Sri Lanka, we want you to experience what makes this island special. Warmth, hospitality, and connection. Sri Lanka is ready to move forward, stronger together.
And this has been Starlyst Originals, Land Episode 1 of the many journeys across the island we call home.